Champagne toast in the age of gnosis. Ancient scrolls in the flesh. Pages open. It's the Elohim, the mellow mystic, Lord Emmanuel, chief of Simonicanation, spike of star seed, the wheat in the virgin's hand. If you don't know, now you know. Check this out, though. Continuing with Module 1 of the Simonican Civics course. This time we're going to be going into Lesson 1.4, which goes into de facto and versus de jure governance. So let's go ahead and jump into Lesson 1.4, de facto versus de jure governance. Just going to read the information and hopefully it's helpful to somebody. And we're going to keep it pushing from there. So this lesson clarifies one of the most misunderstood distinctions in civics and law, the difference between de facto, in fact, and de jure in law governance. Understanding this distinction allows nationals to recognize where authority is assumed, where it is lawful, and how power is maintained through appearance rather than right. So here's the definition. De facto means by fact or practice. Authority exercised because it is accepted, tolerated, or unchallenged. De jure means by right or law. Authority that is rightful, legitimate, and aligned with foundational principles. Something may function de facto without being de jure. Something like the U.S. So how de facto systems maintain power? De facto systems rely on habit and conditioning, assumed consent, silence or non-objection, administrative convenience, enforcement through fear or penalty. They persist not because they are lawful, but because they are believed to be inevitable. So let's go into de jure authority and higher law. De jure authority originates from natural law, divine or higher law, lawful covenant, and rightful standing. In sovereign civics, right precedes force. Any system that contradicts higher law may function temporarily but lacks legitimacy. Let's go into the illusion of legitimacy. Many modern institutions operate de facto while presenting themselves as de jure. Indicators include reliance on policy and principle, enforcement without lawful contract, presumptions of jurisdiction, inability to demonstrate original authority. Appearance replaces substance. Understanding de facto versus de jure allows you to identify when authority is assumed, choose when and how to engage, preserve standing, and avoid unnecessary conflict. Power shifts when illusion is recognized. So lesson 1.5 goes into the power of declarations in sovereignty. What you declare as a sovereign, what you declare becomes law. You want to talk about reality creation. So Power of declarations in sovereignty. This lesson teaches how declarations function as instruments of law, standing, and sovereignty. Properly made declarations allow a living being to assert authority, claim rights, and establish lawful relationships. Declarations are the foundation for self-governance, status correction, and national recognition. What is a declaration? A declaration is a written or spoken statement that affirms truth, establishes identity or status, expresses intent or consent, and is made with clarity and authority. Unlike contracts, declarations create law for the declarant when aligned with higher law. Declarations do not rely on external permission. They assert what already exists. Declare it, proclaim it, and decree it. As a creator, as a sovereign, you proclaim it, you declare it, you decree it. So here are some types of declarations in Simonican civics. Declaration of political status asserts the individual as a living soul and national. Declaration of indigenous lineage and land rights affirms ancestral inheritance and rightful stewardship. Declaration of trust or land patent establishes control over property or estate. Notice of status or right to travel communicates standing to other entities or authorities. All declarations are most effective when properly signed, sealed, and optionally witnessed or notarized. So why declarations are powerful? They preserve freedom by declaring status. They prevent involuntary submission to de facto systems. They create continuity and record in private archives. They establish authority in dealings with others. Declarations shift reality by codifying intent and asserting standing. So let's go into making a declaration effective. To maximize effectiveness, declare in first person present tense. I, Lord Emmanuel, Chief of Simonicanation, reference higher law and natural authority. Natural law, divine law, common law. Sign or autograph with intent, name, and seal. Deliver or record appropriately, example, archives and relevant parties. Maintain a copy for personal records. Properly constructed, a declaration carries lawful, spiritual, and practical force. Practical force. Because when it comes down to exercising and asserting your spiritual sovereignty, this is a practical way to do it. I haven't seen a more practical way that allows you to be Lord, truly be master of your own universe, and what you say truly becomes law. This is a practical way that can be applied in the physical realm without having to go off grid on your own land. You know what I'm saying? So some key principles from this lesson. Declarations create law for the declarant. Declarations assert identity, status, and intent. Declarations do not require external approval. Proper form, record, and delivery maximize power. Standing and sovereignty are strengthened through declarations. So we'll stop right there and pick up in another video, module 2, which goes into law, jurisdiction, and trust. You know what I mean? So stay tuned or scroll on or whatever. But it's the Elohim, the Mellow Mystic, Lord Emmanuel, Chief of Simonicanation, Spiker Star Seed, the wheat in the virgin's hand. And if you don't know, now you know.